I also have to note that the Congress has also called in Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify. No date has been set for that because it was supposed to happen during the shutdown. It hasn't happened.
Quick word on the Epstein bill. It's the daily story for us at the moment. The latest, not much has changed other than President Trump has signed the bill forcing the US Department of Justice to release the files within 30 days. We heard from Pam Bondi about that yesterday. She didn't sound completely sure about it all. But we've just got to expect it now, haven't we? There's no other news really to glean from this until we see the files.
Exactly, and that's going to be, as you said, 30 days, and the DOJ has to give a report to Congress within 15 days of the release. So we'll see what's in them. It's too soon to say, and this is after, of course, Trump's surprising U-turn on whether or not to release the files.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's move on to Donald Trump and his meeting tomorrow with the New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani. Takes place at the Oval Office tomorrow afternoon. In their customary meeting, the two adversaries are set to discuss public safety and affordability. I don't need to remind my listeners they are completely opposite ends of the political divide. Here's what the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say ahead of the meeting.
Speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. It speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself.
Yeah, I mean, look, he isn't a communist, but it's not going to stop the imaginary bunting welcome communist Mamdani pinned across the front of the White House tomorrow. I mean, Caroline Leavitt's vicious there, isn't she? But to give him his dues, Mamdani asked for the meeting and it was granted.
Right, and they are going to discuss these public safety issues, including, of course, the bulk of federal funding that goes to New York City. This is for infrastructure and transportation. Trump has threatened to withhold that. Of course, he's not legally allowed to do that. Only Congress has power of the purse. They're also going to talk about Trump's threat to deploy ICE, that's the immigration enforcement, to New York. So this is going to be an interesting, contentious meeting, and we're not sure, as Caroline also said, whether this is going to be open to the press. So stay tuned.
Wow. OK. All right. So we don't know what we're going to expect. Are they having an open press session? Do you know, Anita? Could we get fireworks? I mean, I'm thinking kind of Zelensky-style meltdown here. Could it all go wrong?
I mean, you never know what to expect with Donald Trump. As Leavitt just said, we're not sure if this actual meeting is going to be open to the press. So it's definitely going to be interesting. These are two very strong personalities from different sides of the political aisle with serious things to discuss. And they both have, as they say, a deep and abiding love for the city of New York.
All right. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, as we must now call him, he's missed the November 20 deadline set by the Democrats who want to question him over Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, this was expected. We thought he might. I mean, there was no obligation, was there, for him to speak to Congress?
No, he's not a U.S. citizen, so there's no legal obligation. I also have to note that the Congress has also called in Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify. No date has been set for that because it was supposed to happen during the shutdown. It hasn't happened. But as far as
are they going to testify? Do you know? Are they up for it, or can they ignore it?
Well, they're American citizens. So they have a higher standard, and there's a lot more leverage that Congress has over them. But it doesn't necessarily have to be an open session, and that's kind of important because, of course, this is sensitive stuff. We're talking about heinous abuse of young women, and maybe those details don't need to be spoken about in public. So, again, stay tuned.
Wow, OK. Busy. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance not invited to the memorial for the former Vice President Dick Cheney. Around 1,000 people in attendance today at the service at Washington National Cathedral. Tell us a bit about it.
So we know why this has happened. This is because Liz Cheney, the daughter of Dick Cheney, led the January 6th investigative committee. And so there's no love lost between her and the White House. She is a Republican, but as Trump says, she's a Republican in name only. So this was attended by other former presidents, including President Bush, President Biden, and former Vice President Gore, former Vice President Harris, Pence, and Quayle, but not Vance and Trump, and we know why. There's a lot of history there, and it's not pretty.
Will they be bothered, or will they have been bothered?
I mean, you're asking me to dig into the psychology of Donald Trump and JD Vance. I mean, of course, Trump is always defensive in moments like this, about, I didn't want to go to that party anyway. So, yeah.
Okay, all right. We're doing a great job of motoring through some of the big stories of the day. Got a little bit of time to discuss this one because it's blowing up on the American networks at the moment. And this is the decision by the US Coast Guards to no longer classify swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. Just walk us through, because this is literally within the last hour or so we are hearing more about this.
I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather at that one. So basically, the Coast Guard, which is not technically part of the Department of Defense, is downgrading these very clear symbols. I think I know what they mean. You know what they mean. From divisive to potentially divisive. So a little bit of doubt there about whether they're problematic. I would really like to know which Americans think that swastikas are cool. Because that is concerning.
Yeah, I mean, why? Why, Anita? Why have they done this?
Well, I mean, this could be seen as part of the Pentagon's push to kind of change norms and change standards and to kind of, I guess, open up acceptance of different ideologies to be more inclusive, so to speak. But, I can't think of a context also in which there are coast Nazis. They never made it to the coast of the United States, so I don't understand that either. I don't know why the Coast Guard in particular, other than this could be a test balloon, for the Department of Defense to follow suit. But this is also, I mean, this is responding to the military forces' general problem in recruiting soldiers. Maybe they feel that symbols like swastikas, nooses, and the Confederate flag, the stars and bars, are alienating to possible recruits. And they want people who embrace these symbols to join the armed forces, which is a interesting idea.
But that's not going to be a great pool of people, is it? I don't know. Maybe the Confederate flag more so. I mean, what are we saying here? That armed forces recruitment or recruitment to the Coast Guard is so bad that they need to, think about people who embrace Nazi era symbols. It's just a bit crazy, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think you said it, Kate, but now we're deciding to give them rifles. So that's where we are. I can't say how many members of extremist groups there are in the general population who have an interest in joining the armed forces, and furthermore, who qualify, because there are, of course, restrictions on who can join. But I'm frankly baffled by this because I always thought, like many Americans, that the swastika was a pretty clear symbol and symbolized hate, genocide, Nazis, and those are bad things.
All right. Well, look, thank you so much for being with us. Anita Powell, DC reporter. That has been the Trump.